Nazis. Get ready to die, Nazis!
GI? No!
And long lasting.
So James Gunn recently did an interview with Screen Brief and he dropped a ton of information. So let's start with the ones that really piqued my interest. James Gunn says there's a lot of darkness in Superman. Quote, "This isn't Superman dealing with hope and optimism in light times. He's dealing with hope and optimism in very difficult, hard times, dark times. And that's what the movie is." And I love this take on James Gunn. And people will say, well, Zack Snyder didn't. I was like, not quite. Yes, Superman was in a realistic world and Superman had to deal with people who hated him, but also Superman wasn't the vibrant, hopeful, optimistic portrayal that Zack Snyder created in Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Superman was dealing with a lot of morally gray internal struggles that ultimately made the movie feel so much more dour and dark and depressing, and Superman having internal struggles with what he wants to do himself in a world that hates him. Like, that's not Superman. Superman is bright. Superman is optimistic. Superman is hopeful. So when you have a character like that James Gunn is going to present to us, and having that hopeful, optimistic, that light in the sky figure dealing with people who are very cynical and hate him, and having Superman fight against that makes the character even more appealing, and that makes the character even more interesting, and that makes you even more invested in Superman, because he's a character that wants to help and will never, ever, ever quit or question his morality, question his ideals, and knows what his place is in his universe, in this universe, and knows who he is as a person, and will always fight against that for the greater good. That is what Superman is. That's who the character is. And that's where, Zack Snyder, I love you, love Man of Steel, but that's where that iteration really just faltered. Another take, James Gunn on his Superman. It's one of the things that's a little bit different than some of the other Superman movies. It's about Superman's external struggle, but it's also about his internal struggle. It's exactly what I just said. It's about who he is as a person, where he comes from, his parents, both his Kryptonian parents and his human parents. And we get to know who this guy is on a real elemental level. And that brings in all those other elements too. That's exactly what I just said. James Gunn, hire me for the next Superman movie, bro. I will help you write the script. Yeah, like I said before, everything that James Gunn said, I explicitly, cold-heartedly agree with that statement. Also, it's really just word for word what I just said. James Gunn, here's one that's interesting. James Gunn asked Zack Snyder about putting trunks on the Superman suit. I even talked to Zack Snyder about it. He said, I tried like a billion versions with the trunks and never got there. And I said, I see how that's the case. And again, there's this, I'm sure the Snyder cultists just called the suicide hotline. The phone is ringing off the hook. Oh my God, James Gunn is talking to Zack Snyder, my king, my Lord and Savior. Why are you talking to Zack Snyder? And there's this ridiculous notion that James Gunn hates Zack Snyder or Zack Snyder hates James Gunn. That's not the case. Obviously, they have a working professional relationship. The fact that James Gunn asked Zack Snyder, hey, what do you think about this? And Zack Snyder was like, well, here's the reason why I didn't use the trunks. I like it. It's brilliant. And of course, Snyder cultists are crying like the losers and desperate imbeciles that they are. I love it. So here's another thing that really just got my goat on this. James Gunn about managing the Superman score with composer John Murphy. The one thing I'll say is I do want to use the classic Williams score, but I want you to turn it and mutate it and turn it into your own thing that'll represent this film and this story. Number one, confirmed, James Gunn will use the John Williams score, but also put a nice twist to it, and asking John Murphy, who's the composer for this film, asking him to do his own thing with it, with using the John Williams iconic score. I love it. That's a brilliant decision. Again, everything James Gunn is saying so far, and I hate to sound and I hate to sound like I'm gagging on James Gunn's jock, but he's saying all the right things. Like, there's nothing that he's saying that I'm like, I don't agree with that. I don't like that choice. Why do that? No, everything that he's saying, I'm like, yep, sounds good. I agree with that. I like that. so I'm just like, yeah, I'm all for it. James Gunn on Corenswet's take on Superman. There's never a take that I look at after the dailies and think he isn't fully, authentically Superman. He is Superman every moment he's in the movie, and even the stuff where I'm cutting together the best performance is possible, his worst take is still great. And again, I've been saying this for a long time. I think David Corenswet is going to be this generation's Superman. I think his Superman is going to have that heart, the compassion, the likability of Clark Kent, of Superman, and just as a character, I think David Corenswet is going to bring so much more depth and emotion and humor, all the facets of being a human being and all the emotions, and bring it to this character and make us love Superman, which is the whole point of the character. When you watch Superman, you're supposed to feel inspired. You're supposed to feel hope. And James Gunn said it himself, when you see Superman, you just want to act. You just want to give him a hug. He wanted to find an actor who, when you watch him on screen, you're just like, oh, like you just want to give him a hug because he's Superman. And the fact that James Gunn found that in David Corenswet, and David Corenswet is bringing it on screen. Again, it's everything that I could have hoped for and asked for. I'm just day by day, I'm counting the days until this fucking movie comes out. I'm super excited. I think it's gonna be on par with Richard Donner's Superman as the best Superman film that we've ever seen. So that's going to be it. Hit like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, TikTok, Sisters, my cousin below. What do you think of all of this news and information? Comment down below. And yeah, I'm super excited. I'm going to watch this trailer again. Love you all. Stay safe. Truth out.